The sky burned orange as the sun set over the Nevada desert. Commander Ellie Marshall stood alone, her eyes fixed on the twisted metal scattered across the sand. There was no doubt about what she was looking at. This was an alien spacecraft, and it did not belong to the Arcturians. 3 months ago, the world had changed forever when the Arcturians arrived in their gleaming ships. They came in peace, they said. They wanted to share knowledge and build friendship with humans. They set up their embassy in Geneva and began talks with world leaders. But the broken ship in front of Ellie was different. Its sharp angles and dark metal belonged to the Proxians, a species the Arcturians had warned Earth about. They weren't supposed to be here, she whispered to herself, kneeling to touch a piece of the strange metal. It felt warm despite the cool evening air. Footsteps approached from behind. Jack Warren, the head of Earth's new interstellar defense initiative, walked up beside her. His face looked tired, with deep lines around his mouth. "This wasn't an accident," Jack said, looking over the crash site. "They came into our airspace on purpose. The question is why." Ellie stood up, brushing sand from her uniform. "How long until the recovery team arrives?" "They're 10 minutes out," Jack replied. "The president wants everything moved to the underground lab by morning." Night fell as the recovery team worked under bright lights. They carefully picked through the wreckage, placing pieces of alien technology into special containers. Ellie watched as soldiers carried away objects that defied human understanding. Strange devices that seemed to move on their own, materials that changed color when touched. And, most importantly, a damaged data core that might hold answers. In a tent set up near the crash site, Dr. Sam Foster connected the alien data core to equipment designed to translate its contents. The young scientist had been working with Arcturian technology since first contact, learning their language and technology systems. "I've got something," Sam said after several hours. Ellie and Jack crowded behind him, looking at screens filled with strange symbols. "It's damaged, but I can read some of it. This isn't good." Sam explained what he found. The Proxians had been watching Earth for years, so had at least 6 other alien species. Earth sat at an important point in space, valuable to many civilizations. The Arcturians hadn't come just for friendship. They wanted to claim Earth before their enemies could. "We're in the middle of a war that's been going on for hundreds of years," Sam said quietly. "And until now, we didn't even know it." Ellie felt cold fear in her stomach. Human weapons would be useless against the kind of technology she had seen in the wreckage. "We need to tell the president right away." In Washington, D.C., President Samantha Reeves sat at the head of a long table in an underground meeting room. Maps and screens covered the walls. Military leaders, scientists, and government officials filled the chairs around her. Ellie and Jack stood near the door, having just finished explaining what they found. Dr. Alan Nichols, the country's leading expert on alien biology, spoke up. "The Arcturians have been lying to us from the start. They present themselves as peaceful, but they're just one side in a much larger conflict. And now the Proxians are making their move," General Howard added. "This crashed ship was probably a scout. There could be more coming." President Reeves tapped her fingers on the table. She was known for staying calm in crisis, but the lines on her face showed the weight of the situation. "What are our options?" For hours they discussed possibilities. Some suggested trying to ally with the Arcturians for protection. Others wanted to remain neutral in the alien conflict. A few even suggested surrender before fighting started. Jack Warren finally stood up. "There's another option. We declare Earth off limits to all of them." The room fell silent. "A no-fly zone," Jack continued. "Around Earth and surrounding space. No alien ships without our direct permission. We make it clear we won't be a pawn in their game." General Howard laughed. "And how exactly do we enforce that? We can barely reach our own moon." Ellie stepped forward. "With this." She placed a case on the table and opened it. Inside was a small device recovered from the crash site. "Our scientists think this is part of their weapons system. If we can understand it, maybe we can defend ourselves." Dr. Nichols nodded. There are research teams around the world working to understand the alien technology we've already received from the Arcturians. If we focus all our efforts on defense systems. President. Reeves stood up, ending the discussion. Get me everything you can on this technology. I want options on my desk in 48 hours. 2 days later, after reviewing reports and possibilities, President Reeves made her decision. She stood before cameras in the Oval Office, her gray suit perfectly pressed, her voice steady as she addressed not just her country but the entire world. My fellow citizens of Earth, 3 months ago, we learned we are not alone in the universe. Today, I must share a difficult truth. Our planet has become caught in the middle of conflicts that are not our own. Multiple alien civilizations view Earth as a strategic location, a resource to be claimed. She paused, letting the words sink in. After careful consideration, and with the unanimous support of the United Nations Security Council, I am declaring that effective immediately, Earth and its surrounding space are a no-fly zone to all non-human entities without explicit permission from our unified Earth government. Any unauthorized entry will be considered an act of aggression. Across the globe, people watched in shock. Some felt pride in the bold stance. Others felt terror, knowing what might come next. We will defend our sovereignty by any means necessary, the President continued. We extend the hand of friendship to all peaceful species, but we will not allow our world to become a battleground for ancient conflicts not of our making. In the days that followed, the Arcturian embassy in Geneva became unusually quiet. Their ambassador requested an urgent meeting with world leaders but was told to wait. For the first time, humans were setting the terms. Scientists in labs across the planet worked day and night to understand the alien technology from the crashed Proxian ship. In a secret facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Sam Foster made the first breakthrough. The strange metal from the ship could absorb energy and redirect it. With this knowledge, human engineers began designing shields that might protect against alien weapons. Ellie Marshall was promoted to oversee a new space defense program. Working with NASA and other space agencies, she helped convert existing satellites into early warning systems. It wasn't much, but it was a start. 1 month after the declaration, radar stations around the world detected movement. 3 large objects had entered the solar system and were moving toward Earth. Proxian design, Jack confirmed, looking at the images. Bigger than the scout ship. Much bigger. President Reeves gathered her advisors once again. How long until they reach Earth? At their current speed, 4 days, Ellie answered, and our defenses. Jack shook his head. Not ready. The scientists need more time. President Reeves looked at each person in the room. Then we need to buy them time. Send a message to the approaching ships. Tell them they are entering a restricted zone and must change course immediately. And if they don't respond? General Howard asked. Then we show them we're serious, the President replied. Prepare the aerospace defense units. We may not have alien technology yet, but we will use everything we have. As the message was sent into space, people around the world prepared for what might be humanity's first interstellar war. Churches filled with those seeking comfort. Others stockpiled food and water. Scientists worked without sleep, racing to develop weapons that might have a chance against the approaching threat. In the Nevada desert where it all began, Ellie stood once again looking at the stars. The pieces of the alien ship had been removed, but she could still picture them scattered across the sand. Tonight, the stars no longer seemed beautiful and mysterious. They looked cold and dangerous. Jack joined her, offering a cup of coffee. The President is making the right call, he said. I know, Ellie replied, but are we ready for what comes next? Above them, the stars continued to shine, hiding the approaching ships that would test humanity's bold declaration. Earth had claimed its independence among the stars. Now they would have to fight to keep it. 6 months passed since Earth declared itself a no-fly zone. The alien ships that had approached after the declaration had turned away at the last moment. No one knew if it was because of the warning, or if they were simply waiting for a better time to strike. Either way, it gave humans precious months to prepare. Lieutenant Noah Garcia sat in the pilot seat of the USS Defiant, Earth's first spacecraft built with reverse-engineered alien technology. The ship looked nothing like regular human vessels. Its smooth, dark hull curved in ways that seemed impossible for metal. Inside, the control panels glowed with soft blue light. Noah ran his hand over the controls, still amazed that he was chosen to pilot it. "All systems are green," said Olivia Peters, the ship's engineer. Her voice came through the comm system from the engine room. "Power levels at 98%. Noah nodded, though she couldn't see him. "Starting test sequence 3, the War." Ship hummed to life. Outside the viewing window, the walls of the massive underground hangar slowly moved as the Defiant hovered in place. Noah barely touched the controls, and the ship responded like it could read his mind. The alien engine technology they had copied from the crashed Proxian ship allowed the Defiant to move in ways no human craft ever could. "How's it feel?" asked Jack Warren through the comm. He watched from the control room above the hangar. "Like nothing I've ever flown," Noah replied. "It's perfect." Jack smiled. "Take her up to the test area. Let's see what she can really do." The ceiling of the hangar slid open, revealing the night sky. Noah guided the ship upward, breaking free from Earth's gravity with surprising ease. The stars grew brighter as he left the atmosphere behind. In just minutes, the Defiant reached the dark side of the moon, a journey that would have taken days with old human technology. Far below, in an underground facility beneath the mountains of Colorado, Catherine Miller led a team of scientists working on Earth's newest defense system. The large room was filled with computers and strange equipment, much of it built using designs learned from the alien ship. In the center stood a model of Earth with a thin bubble around it. "The shield network is based on the Proxian energy absorption system," Catherine explained to President Reeves, who had come to see their progress. "If we can build enough power stations around the planet, we could create a barrier that would stop any ship from entering our atmosphere." The president looked skeptical. "How much power would that take?" "More than all of Earth's power plants combined," Catherine admitted. "But we're working on that too. The Arcturian power systems are incredibly efficient." President Reeves walked around the model, studying it carefully. "And how long until it's ready?" "The first test of a small shield over this facility is scheduled for tomorrow," Catherine said. "If it works, we can start building the full network. But it will take months, maybe years, to cover the whole planet." The president nodded gravely. "We may not have years." In Geneva, Ambassador Gregory Hayes entered the Arcturian embassy for the first time since Earth's declaration. The building looked normal from the outside, but inside, the walls shifted colors slightly, and the air felt different. The Arcturian ambassador, a tall, thin being with pale blue skin, waited in what they called the Harmony Room. "Ambassador Hayes," the Arcturian said, its voice musical and strange. "We have been waiting for this meeting." Gregory sat across from the alien, trying to look confident. "I'm here to deliver a message from Earth's united governments. We know about the conflict between your people and the Proxians. We know Earth is caught in the middle." The Arcturian's large eyes blinked slowly. "You are young and do not understand galactic politics." "We understand enough," Gregory replied firmly. "Earth will not take sides in your war. Our no-fly zone remains in effect. Any ship, Arcturian or Proxian, that enters our space without permission will be considered hostile." The Arcturian made a sound that might have been a laugh. "And how will you enforce this? Your technology is primitive compared to ours." "That's changing faster than you think," Gregory said. "We learn quickly." The meeting ended without any agreement. As Gregory left the embassy, he couldn't shake the feeling that the Arcturians weren't taking Earth's declarations seriously. He called Jack Warren immediately. "They think we're bluffing," Gregory reported. "They don't believe we can defend ourselves." Jack sighed. "Then we may need to show them we can." 2 days later, Gregory traveled to a space station orbiting Jupiter. The station had been built secretly using the new technology. Inside, representatives from 17 different alien civilizations waited. This was the Galactic Council, the governing body that managed relations between spacefaring species. Earth had never been invited to join. Gregory entered the circular room where the council met. The aliens were of all shapes and sizes. Some looked almost human, while others were completely different. Beings of light, creatures with multiple limbs, and forms that seemed to shift and change. "Humans," said a large green-skinned alien in the center seat. "You have requested this audience. Speak." Gregory stood straight, trying not to show his nervousness. "I come representing Earth. We have declared our planet and surrounding space a no-fly zone to all non-human vessels without express permission." Murmurs and strange sounds filled the room. The Arcturian representative, Zalek, stepped forward. "Your species is barely a century into powered flight," he said with clear contempt. "Yet you make demands of civilizations thousands of years your senior." "We're quick learners," Gregory replied calmly. "Our terms are simple. Respect our sovereignty, and we will engage in peaceful trade and exchange of knowledge with any species that wishes it. Violate our space and we will defend ourselves." "With what?" another alien asked. "Your primitive weapons?" Gregory didn't answer. He simply handed each council member a small data device. "This contains our official declaration and boundaries. We hope for peace, but we are prepared for alternatives." The council dismissed Gregory without making any promises. As he returned to Earth, alert systems across the solar system detected movement. 3 large Proxian warships had entered the outer solar system and were moving toward Earth. President Reeves called an emergency meeting. "How long do we have?" "At their current speed, 36 hours until they reach Earth orbit," Ellie Marshall, now an admiral, reported. "The Defiant is ready," Noah said from his seat at the table. "We've added 5 smaller ships to the fleet. They're not as advanced, but they can fight." The president turned to Catherine Miller. "And the shield?" "The prototype works, but it's only been tested on a small scale," Catherine said. "Expanding it to cover even a portion of the planet would drain our power grid." President Reeves looked at each person in the room. These were the people Earth's defense rested on. "We knew this day would come. The Proxians are testing us. They want to see if our declaration has any teeth." "So what do we do?" Jack asked. "We show them it does," the president replied. "Admiral Marshall, prepare the fleet. Dr. Miller, get the shield ready as a last resort. We're activating the Defiance protocol." The next day, Noah Garcia sat in the pilot seat of the Defiant again, but this time he wasn't alone. Crews filled the ship, as well as the 5 smaller vessels that would join them. Together they formed Earth's first space defense fleet. "All ships report ready," said Noah's communications officer. Noah took a deep breath. "Defiant to all ships. Move to formation. Alpha. We will intercept the Proxian vessels near lunar orbit." The small fleet moved out, leaving Earth behind. Noah watched as the blue planet grew smaller through the viewing window. He thought about all the people down there. Billions who had no idea that their future might depend on what happened in the next few hours. The Proxian ships were massive compared to Earth's vessels. Each one was at least 10 times the size of the Defiant. Their dark, angular shapes seemed to swallow the starlight around them. "They're hailing us," the communications officer said. "Put them through," Noah ordered. A deep, rumbling voice filled the bridge. "Human vessels, you are interfering with Proxian business. Move aside or be destroyed." Noah straightened in his seat. "Proxian vessels, you have entered Earth's declared no-fly zone without permission. Change course immediately or we will be forced to take action." The Proxian captain made a sound like grinding metal. "Your declaration means nothing. Your primitive ships cannot hope to stand against us." "Then I guess we'll see about that," Noah said, closing the channel. He turned to his crew. "Battle stations. All weapons ready." The humans braced themselves as the Proxian ships continued forward. The vastness of space stretched around them, silent and cold. The moon hung nearby, a pale witness to what would be humanity's first battle among the stars. Noah looked at his crew, men and women who had trained for this moment without knowing if their technology would be enough. "For Earth," he said, quietly. The distance closed between the fleets. The moment of truth had arrived. The space around the moon became a battlefield. Noah Garcia watched from the command chair of the USS Defiant as the three massive Proxian ships moved closer. His hands were steady on the controls, but his heart raced. Everything humanity had worked for over the past 6 months would now be tested. All ships hold position, Noah ordered. Wait for them to make the first move. The 5 smaller Earth vessels fell into formation around the Defiant. They were older ships that had been upgraded with the new alien technology. Not as powerful as the Defiant, but better than anything humans had before. The lead Proxian ship fired first. A beam of blue energy shot across space toward one of the smaller Earth ships. At the last second, the human pilot spun his vessel, barely avoiding the blast. Return fire, Noah commanded. All ships, attack pattern Delta. The human fleet broke formation, moving in different directions as they had practiced. The Proxians seemed confused by this tactic. Their large ships were powerful but slow to turn. The Earth vessels were smaller and more agile. The Defiant raced toward the nearest Proxian ship, firing its new weapons. Bursts of energy hit the alien vessel, creating bright flashes against its dark hull. But the damage seemed minimal. The Proxian ship turned slowly, trying to target the Defiant. Their shields are too strong, reported Olivia Peters from the engine room. We need more power. Noah thought quickly. During training, he had studied the moon's gravity patterns. All ships follow me. We're changing the game. He guided the Defiant in a tight curve around the moon using its gravity to gain speed. The 5 other Earth ships followed his lead. The Proxian vessels tried to follow, but their larger size made the maneuver difficult. They can't turn fast enough, Noah said with a smile. Hit them from behind while their shields are focused forward. Through the Earth fleet emerged from behind the moon at high speed, catching the Proxian ships off guard. They fired at the vulnerable rear sections of the alien vessels. One of the Proxian ships shuddered as Earth's weapons found a weak spot. Back on Earth, in the command center beneath the Pentagon, Admiral Ellie Marshall watched the battle through satellite feeds. They're actually doing it, she said with surprise, in her voice. They're holding their own. Jack Warren stood beside her, his face tense. For now. But the Proxians have more tricks we haven't seen yet. In a laboratory across the country, Dr. Alan Nichols made an important discovery. He had been studying alien biology samples for months, trying to understand the different species. Under his microscope, cells from a Proxian tissue sample behaved strangely when exposed to radiation. That's interesting, he muttered to himself. He increased the radiation level slightly and the cells began to break down rapidly. He grabbed his phone and called the command center immediately. I need to speak with Admiral Marshall. It's urgent. When Ellie answered, Alan explained what he had found. The Proxians evolved on a planet with very low radiation levels. Their bodies can't handle the kind of radiation humans deal with every day from our sun. How does that help us? Ellie asked. Their ships must have radiation shielding, Alan said excitedly. If we could overwhelm those shields with a radiation burst similar to a solar flare, we might be able to disable their ships without destroying them. Ellie thanked him and quickly connected to the Defiant. Lieutenant Garcia, we have new information that might help. In Houston Control, Chief Engineer Olivia Scott had been monitoring the battle remotely. She heard Admiral Marshall's explanation about the Proxians' weakness to radiation. I can modify the Defiant's weapon system, Olivia said. We can recalibrate to emit a radiation signature similar to a solar flare. Do it, Ellie ordered. Olivia worked quickly, sending the new settings to the Defiant's engineering team. This is a one-shot chance, she warned. The power drain will be enormous. In space, Noah received the modified weapon settings. All ships, pull back and regroup, he ordered. The Earth fleet disengaged, putting distance between themselves and the Proxian vessels. Weapons recalibrated, reported his weapons officer. Ready on your command. Target the 2 damaged Proxian ships first, Noah said. Fire. The Defiant's weapons released a burst of energy unlike anything they had fired before. It wasn't a beam or a projectile, but a wave of radiation that spread outward. When it hit the first Proxian ship, the effect was immediate. The alien vessel's lights flickered and went dark. The second targeted ship spun slowly, clearly disabled, but the third Proxian ship had been hanging back. Now it accelerated suddenly, pushing past the disabled vessels and heading straight for Earth. "It's making a run for the planet," Noah shouted. "All power to engines!" The Defiant gave chase, but the Proxian ship had too much of a head start. It would reach Earth before they could catch it. In the Colorado facility, Catherine Miller received an emergency call from the President herself. "Dr. Miller, a Proxian ship has broken through our defenses. It's heading directly for the east coast of the United States. How ready is the shield?" Catherine looked at her team, who stared back with worried faces. "We've only tested it at 20% capacity, Madam President. Using it at full power could cause widespread blackouts. If that ship reaches a major city, we'll have worse than blackouts," President Reeves replied grimly. "You have authorization. Activate the shield." Catherine took a deep breath. "Yes, Madam President." She turned to her team. "Begin power-up sequence. Divert all power from the eastern grid to the shield generators." Across the eastern United States, lights dimmed as power was redirected. In the Colorado facility, machines hummed louder as energy flowed into them. "Shield at 40%, called one of Catherine's scientists. "The Proxian ship has entered Earth's atmosphere," another reported, watching radar screens. "Current trajectory puts it on course for Washington, D.C. Catherine pushed buttons on her control panel. 60%. We need more power." Emergency generators across the country kicked in, adding their output to the shield system. The lights in the facility flickered as the machines drew more and more energy. 80%, the scientist called. "Shield forming now." Above the Earth's surface, a shimmer appeared in the sky. It was faint at first, like heat waves on a hot road. Then it grew stronger, a dome of energy becoming visible over the eastern seaboard. The Proxian ship plunged through the atmosphere, a blazing object visible to thousands of people below. It approached the shield at incredible speed. "Full power!" Catherine shouted. The shield flared bright, a curtain of energy spanning hundreds of miles. The Proxian ship hit it at full speed. For a moment it seemed the shield might break. The energy dome pushed inward, stretching like a rubber membrane. Then the shield held. The Proxian ship couldn't push through. Its engines flared as it tried to force its way past the barrier, but the shield remained firm. Finally, the alien vessel veered away, its hull smoking from the contact with the energy field. Unable to reach its target, the damaged ship crashed into the Atlantic Ocean hundreds of miles from shore. The impact sent huge waves in all directions, but no human lives were lost. In Colorado, the shield system began to fail as power grids across the country overloaded. Catherine watched as the energy levels dropped rapidly. "Shield failing," she announced. "Power systems are shutting down." The shield flickered and disappeared after just 6 minutes of operation, but it had been enough. Across the eastern United States, cities went dark as power systems failed, but the alien threat had been stopped. In space, Noah watched as the remaining Proxian ships, including the one that had crashed in the ocean, sent emergency signals. The message was clear in any language: retreat. The disabled Proxian vessels slowly turned away from Earth, limping back toward deep space. The Battle of Lunar Orbit, as it would later be called, was over. Humanity had won its first space battle against a technologically superior enemy. As the Defiant and the other Earth ships returned home, news of the victory spread across the planet. Despite the power outages and the cleanup of the crashed alien ship, people celebrated. Earth had successfully defended its declaration. The no-fly zone was real, and now the rest of the galaxy knew it. In distant parts of space, other alien civilizations that had been watching the conflict took notice. Humanity was not the primitive species they had assumed. Perhaps this young race deserved more respect than they had been given. 2 years passed since the Battle of Lunar Orbit. Earth had changed in ways no one could have imagined before first contact. The no-fly zone remained in effect, but now alien ships requested permission before entering Earth's space. Most were granted access under strict guidelines. Admiral Ellie Marshall stood on the observation deck of the Armstrong space station, watching as workers in spacesuits finished installing new sensor arrays. The station orbited Earth at the exact point where the Moon's gravity and Earth's gravity balanced each other. From here, they could monitor all traffic in the solar system. The final monitoring station on Jupiter's moon Europa will be online next week, said Captain Ben Hayes, her second-in-command. Once it's active, we'll have eyes on every approach to our solar system. Ellie nodded with satisfaction. After the battle, Earth's governments had united like never before. Resources that once went to fighting each other now focused on building defenses. The planet had 12 space stations and 40 smaller monitoring posts spread throughout the solar system. Each one served two purposes: scientific research and early warning systems. Any word from the Proxians? Ellie asked. Nothing since they withdrew their forces, Ben replied. The Arcturians say they've pulled back to their home systems. They're licking their wounds. Ellie smiled slightly. Good. Let's hope they stay there. Down on Earth, in a research center in Seattle, Dr. Paul Wright made final adjustments to a medical device based on Arcturian healing technology. The small silver disc hummed softly as he placed it on the arm of an elderly man participating in the clinical trial. You won't feel a thing, Mr. Johnson, Paul assured him. The device uses energy fields to repair damaged cells. It's completely painless. The old man looked skeptical but stayed still. The disc glowed blue where it touched his skin. After 5 minutes, Paul removed it and checked his tablet computer. Amazing, he said. Your heart tissue is already showing signs of repair. The scarring from your heart attack is decreasing. I do feel better, Mr. Johnson admitted, sounding surprised. More energy than I've had in years. Paul made notes on his tablet. This was just one of hundreds of breakthroughs happening around the world. The integration of alien technology had pushed human development forward by decades in just 2 years. Medical devices that could heal previously untreatable conditions. Energy systems that produced clean power without pollution. Communication. Networks that worked instantly across vast distances. In San Francisco, Lucy Chen turned on her apartment lights with a simple thought. The neural interface in her home was based on Proxian technology. It responded to brainwaves, allowing her to control everything from temperature to entertainment systems without speaking or moving. Good morning, Lucy, the house system said. The temperature outside is 65 degrees. Your first meeting is at 9 a.m. Lucy sipped her coffee while watching the morning news. The main story showed President Reeves meeting with Zalex, the Arcturian representative who had once dismissed humans as primitive. Now he stood respectfully beside the president as they announced new trade agreements. Earth will provide cultural and artistic works in exchange for technical knowledge about sustainable energy systems, President Reeves explained to the cameras. This marks our 12th official trade agreement with non-Earth civilizations. What the news didn't mention was that Earth still kept its most important discoveries secret, especially those related to defense technology. The no-fly zone remained in effect despite improved relations with alien species. Trust was growing, but slowly. In a classroom at Harvard University, Professor Alan Nichols taught the first-ever class on comparative alien biology. 50 students from around the world listened carefully as he explained the fundamental differences between Earth life and life from other planets. The key thing to remember is that Earth is unusual, Alan explained. Our planet has higher radiation levels, more diverse ecosystems, and more extreme weather than most inhabited worlds. This has made humans remarkably adaptable compared to many alien species. A student raised her hand. Is that why we were able to defeat the Proxians despite their advanced technology? Alan nodded. Partly. The Proxians evolved on a planet with very stable conditions. They're brilliant engineers, but they don't adapt quickly to new situations. Humans, on the other hand, have always needed to adapt to survive. In orbit above Proxima Centauri, a star system 4.2 light-years from Earth, a space station housed the Galactic Council chambers. Ambassador Gregory Hayes adjusted his formal uniform as he prepared to enter the council meeting for the first time as an official member rather than just a visitor. Don't show any nervousness, advised his assistant. They respect strength and confidence. Gregory nodded, taking a deep breath. After facing down 3 Proxian warships, a room full of politicians doesn't seem so scary. He entered the circular chamber where representatives from 17 spacefaring civilizations waited. His seat, Earth's seat, was new, added to the circle just 1 month ago when humanity received probationary membership in the council. Representative Hayes greeted the council leader, a tall being with 4 arms and skin that shifted, colors like oil on water. Welcome to your first session as a probationary member. Gregory took his seat between the Arcturian representative and a being made mostly of light contained in a special suit. He noticed that Zalex the Arcturian watched him with what might have been respect. Humanity has proven itself unexpectedly resilient, Zalex said quietly. Perhaps we underestimated your species' potential. A common mistake, Gregory replied, with a slight smile, but not one people tend to make twice. The council session dealt with trade routes, diplomatic incidents between different species, and the ongoing tensions between the major powers. Gregory listened carefully, speaking only when Earth's interests were directly involved. Though they were the newest and least advanced members, Earth's recent victory over the Proxians had earned them a voice that was heard. After the session, Gregory sent a message back to Earth. In the White House, President Reeves read it with satisfaction before addressing the United Nations. The Galactic Council has acknowledged our sovereignty, she told the assembled leaders. But the no-fly zone remains in effect. We have earned our place among the stars not through conquest but by standing firm in defense of our home. The speech was broadcast worldwide. People from every country watched as humanity officially joined the wider galactic community, not as conquerors or as subjects, but as equals. In the command center of the Armstrong space station, a young lieutenant monitoring deep space sensors noticed something unusual. Admiral Marshall, we're picking up signals from beyond the mapped A regions. It doesn't match any known species. Ellie studied the readings with concern. How far out? At least 20 light years. But they're moving this way. Intelligence reports soon confirmed what many had feared. A new player had entered the game. The Draconians, a species from a distant arm of the galaxy, had learned of Earth's victory over the Proxians and were coming to test the humans themselves. In an emergency meeting, Earth's Defense Council debated how to respond. Some suggested strengthening the no-fly zone with more weapons. Others thought diplomatic outreach might prevent conflict. Admiral Marshall proposed a third option. Instead of waiting for them to come to us, we go to them. The room fell silent. A diplomatic mission, she continued, but with enough firepower to make our position clear. We show them we're not looking for trouble, but we're not afraid of it either. President Reeves considered the idea. Who would lead this mission? I would, Ellie said firmly, with the USS Defiant as our flagship. 2 weeks later, Noah Garcia, now a captain, sat once again in the pilot's seat of the Defiant. The ship had been upgraded several times since the Battle of Lunar Orbit. Its hull gleamed with new armor. Its weapons were more powerful. A crew of Earth's finest officers filled every station. All systems ready, Captain, reported his first officer. Noah nodded. Admiral on the bridge, Ellie Marshall entered, her uniform displaying the insignia of Earth's space fleet, a blue planet with stars surrounding it. Status report? All ships report ready, Admiral. Fleet is formed and awaiting your command. Ellie looked out the, viewing window at the small fleet of ships that would accompany them. 5 vessels, each representing different regions of Earth. Together they would travel beyond known space, carrying a message of peace backed by the promise of strength. Set. Course for the Draconian signals, Ellie ordered. Maximum speed. As the fleet left Earth's solar system, they broadcast a simple message in multiple formats that any advanced civilization should be able to understand. We come seeking understanding, not conflict. Respect our boundaries, and we will respect yours. The response they received would change the course of human history and establish a new balance in the galaxy. one where humanity, despite its youth among the stars, had earned its place.